All right, everybody, I'm actually making this very small video because I would like you to go and make sure you very clearly understand what I expect you to go and be doing as part of your, if you want, the Slack and the Trello sections of your task 2. Now, I want you to think about the task from a very simple perspective. Today, I've explained to you the whole concept of Scrum. I've explained to you how things go and actually get created. So if we're going to go and start thinking about your assessment, anything you are going to be doing in your assessment, I want you to think about the marking rubric. So if I look at the marking rubric, there's a task 1, there's a task 2, there's a format, there's an introduction. I want you to think about the marking rubric and everything that you guys are doing. When you are going to be writing about your contribution, what I want you to do is I want you to go and create a table. Like the table could have all of these criteria. You know what is a criteria? Have a table with 2 columns, the criteria on one side, the other column on the other side. You can write what you've done for each of these criteria by using, let's say, between 250 and 400, 500 words in a table format where you've incorporated and you focus on every one of these criteria. That's what I would like to go and see when you guys submitting your individual contribution. When I'm going to go and talk about this assignment, I'm going to mark it based on this guide. You know, nothing is going to be different. So when I go and say, for example, for conclusion, you know, demonstrate a deep understanding of the proposed solution and relates back to all sections of the report, detailed recommendations provided. I'm going to look at this. If you guys are not doing it as is required here, you won't get the full mark. So you need to bear in mind you're looking at what is in the requirements. If I ask for a scope and a schedule and a budget and a plan and maybe some extra stuff you would like to go and do to actually get the full marks, then that will be great for you to go and do. But if I'm going to go and talk now about task 2, which is about agile, I want you to think about this concept into much more details. I want you to think about when we're going to go and initially look, there are all of these requirements stipulated. You guys have created user stories that are relating to all of these requirements. And you guys started thinking about who are the users, and you even created user stories that are not simply based on what is in here. Now, all of these user stories that have worked to help you to go and create, what do you actually do with them? Well, what do you do is you're going to have to go and you have to go and start opening Trello. So what are you going to need to go and be doing in terms of Trello? Well, I need you to go and look at Trello, and I need you to go and ensure you look at the backlog. Now, guys, what's the first thing that happens in the backlog? The first thing is we're going to have create user stories, and then we create a section called product backlog. That's the first thing. Now, what we're going to do is there's going to be a product owner who is really selecting the prioritization of all of these backlogs. And let's say green might be low level. Let's say these are all, low level. There's all of these things. You basically create all your user stories based on their level of priority. Okay, so let's say here I have another label that's a level of priority. So we create this. And I obviously know the priority of all of these backlogs. That is the first stage of your work. You take a picture, okay? There's a sprint 1 to do, done, actually to do. Let's say work in progress, done. I'm just highlighting any names, by the way, guys. Sprint 2 to do, doing, or work in progress. Done. And there's either release. You're going to have to release the work that you're doing. So what you might think about then as you work, you say, okay, now I'm going to take a picture and show Fadi that I've created more than one state, and I've created more than one sprint, and I've created more than one release. Then I see, okay, you know what you're doing. The next stage you want to actually go and do, you would say, okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to think about all of these user stories. Think about how do they actually relate to the assignment. Can I, for example, do these user stories that relate to this and this together? Because then I can have a ready product. And maybe I do this and this in another let's say sprint, because they will get me another working product. You basically start adding all of these together. You think which user stories could be added together. Let's say you say that, let's say we go here and you say that, okay, I'm going to go to these user stories. And let's say in your head, you say this, let's say this one, and this one, and let's say this one and this one are all related to, let's say, the first two points of your assignment. And you add another one here. Okay, this is a sprint one, a sprint two. You add all of this information here. Say, okay, sprint one and sprint two. Say, okay, I'm going to be doing this in sprint two because they're all related. So what you do here is you can then take another picture, say, okay, now I'm going to show Fadi that I showed them that we're going to go and start doing the movement of the sprint, and we're going to start working on a task. Then what you do is you have to click on each task and say, okay, this is the first task. You're going to start working. Maybe you create a checklist. Okay, task one, whatever that is, needs to be done. Okay, you add it. You then also say we would like to go and add I don't know, another task two, task three. Okay, you basically decide how you're going to go and do things, but you notice there's more than one task. Okay, you basically highlight the progress. If you click on this task, you can actually go and say, all right, this task is completed. This task is completed. This task is completed. You can basically start showing what has been done. So you can add all of these tasks that you have, as many tasks as you would like. You basically add them down here. Or you can say, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add activity. I don't want to add tasks. I want to add them all as activities. Activity one, activity two, activity three. So you basically start thinking, you name those activities. Like, what are the activities required for me to do a whatever story, create a login page? What are the activities? Start showing me that you think about the activities. When you think about them, you can put a label, for example. When you think about them, you can assign members. Okay, when you think about them, you can go and put a due date. Okay, when you think about them, you can go and, if you want, attach a work or information. When you think about them, you can decide that you want to watch it. You do whatever you would like. But once you start doing all of these tasks and you basically put the due dates and whatever it is, then you can I can see this here. So if you basically created those details and created deadlines and images, I can see them. I can see that you're watching it. I can see that there's a due date. I can see that there are 3 tasks or whatever. You can see all of these things actually being entered here. You can click on that, for example, take me a screenshot, put it in your assignment. You can do the same thing for the others, take a screenshot, put it in your assignment. Then what you would do, you would basically start moving the activity. You show me that the work has been actually done. You might take another screenshot, like after you've added all the details and you've added the due dates and the assigned to people. You can take another screen to show me, you click this, you take a screenshot, you click this, you take a screenshot, click this, you take a screenshot. Then you might take a picture here to show me that the work went to work in progress. Then when you basically move all your work to show me that the work has moved to done. Okay. There might be, by the way, you might here also show me that there've been other things added to the backlog. Like, it's up to you. You can show me that information, but you can take a screenshot again to show me that it's, you could potentially click here and say, all right, that's done and that's done and whatever, like all of these things is completed. And then we can know that this, and then you can take a screen to show me that it's been completed. You can take the screenshot, show it in your work. And eventually you can take all of these user stories, put them towards the end, and you can show me, take a screenshot of all of these items that has been created are now going to be moved for the release, because we need to release whatever we have. This is a product that we are going to be releasing to the client, and we are going to actually be giving that to the client. Now that's from the perspective of the Agile. From another perspective, something that is very, very important for you to know is the following. I'm going to mention them now. 1, I need you to make sure that there's the cover page of KOI. I need you to make sure that if there's an executive summary, it is coming before the table of content. I need you to make sure that when you do a table of content, you do numbering, like introduction 1.0, task 2, and whatever you title for that task 2, you might name that number 2, and then you might actually put 2.1 something else, 2.2 something else, 2.3, And this something else could be, I don't know, the scope, the charter, the plan, the budget, the risk management, whatever it is. You need to go and actually create subsections for those. I want you to make sure you are going to show me in your plan that you've created a very detailed plan. Like if my requirements are stipulated here in your plan, I want to see that you're thinking about that. Like you might name it, say, stage 1 or whatever, planning for official information advice. Like that might be your section. That might be what you want to actually name it. But I want to see that you thought about these names. You thought about these things in your work. I want to see that your plan that you're creating in Microsoft Project or any other tool where you can add a lot of details in is incorporating these things specifically. I don't want it to be a general plan. I want it to be a detailed plan to go and be created. I want you to go and think about your plan. It needs to have start date and end dates. I want you to think about assigning resources, people, tester, developer, whoever. I want you to show me that you are assigning wages for those people. I want you to show me that you've done research to uncover how much money does each person need to get paid per hour, not just simply put figures. I want you to show me that if any of the people are showing in red or any of the tasks is showing in red, that's mean your people are being allocated to work more than 8 hours a day. I need you to do leveling for your actual plan in Microsoft Project. I need you to show me that these Gantt chart. I need you to show me, as much details as you can for your plan. Do not give me a high level plan. Now, if you give me a high level plan and you go and create a budget, my first answer is going to tell you this budget makes no sense because it is not based on a detailed plan. It is not based on information. I can't see people allocated to the actual plan. I can't see start dates and date dates that shows me the budget. If, for example, you use a machine, you have to put me that machine as a resource for that task. You might say, for this machine, we're going to have a one-time use. Every time we use it, we'll pay $1,000, $2,000, whatever it is. So you have to put all of that information. Risk management, you're going to show me you thought about different level, different stages, likelihood of occurring times impact of this occurring. I want all of this information to, again, be shown in my plan. This is really, a lot of details is expected, guys, from this assessment. So do not leave anything to chance. Do not leave anything with no details. When you want to go and talk to me about something in your assignment, let's say the ethics, don't give me one reference and talk about it. If we talk about the ethical aspect, there's 2-3 references talking about the same point, in one paragraph. Why? Because we are talking here about people who are doing postgraduate studying. Okay, I want to see details. I want to see a lot of work. Like if there's no details here and a lot of research, you're not going to get marked very highly. If you're not doing good comparison, such as the comparison that you basically potentially started doing today in terms of agile and traditional, if there's not a lot of research, not a lot of references, like different points, you speak, let's say 3 authors from the literature talking about one point, you talk about them, you link their points together. I want to see that. If you talk about planning, let's say in task 1, and you want to use a reference, use 2-3 references that talk about that and show me you've done a good references, did good, journal article research to support your points. You show me this, let's say in task 1, the summary that talk about planning, you show me more than one reference that are linked together in a paragraph, and then you start applying it. Wow, you've done a great job. That is what I would like to go and see. That is my definition of good, high quality work that is expected for your assignment. If there's any questions, guys, you can always email me. I'll be always very happy to go and help you out.